Welcome to episode 33 of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. This podcast is being brought to you by yours truly. You can call me Twinkle, you can call me SheIsTwinkle, or you can call me Antoinette. As long as you're calling my name, that's all that matters to me. Now, if you are watching this podcast, you can see my special guest introducing the one and only Whitney Morgan.
Hey. Want some chicken today? Whitney Morgan, KC Credit Doc, Mr. Solo Tax Credit, husband of the Antoinette Morgan.
I had to bring him in for the last podcast for one, because I've been doing a lot of podcasts by myself lately. I mean, I understand it's my pod, but I've been needing some help at times. It'd be a little overwhelming, and I know a lot of people appreciate the male perspective on things.
Yeah, right.
So I could not avoid it. I have to talk about it. I talked about the Chiefs in their good times, and I got to talk about them in their bad times. This has not been the greatest season. So when I found out we were playing on Christmas Day, I was like, is this going to be a gift or is this going to be charcoal? Because they've been giving us charcoal lately.
That's the thing. We're spoiled. We're so used to them having great records. But the Chiefs play horrible on Christmas, if you guys did not
Absolutely
see.
Horrible. They gifted the other team the win.
No, there literally was two gifts.
In 7 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever happened in NFL history, but we gave the other team 2 turnovers that turned into touchdowns within 7 seconds.
And it was a home game. I do listen to Travis Kelce and his brother's podcast from time to time, and Travis Kelce said himself, they all just literally dropped the ball, which they did several times. But he said every single play, somebody was not doing what they were supposed to be doing.
That's what it looked like. It looked like they were out of sorts. I really had to question myself, like, are they practicing? I feel like it's a foundational issue. I feel like it's a coaching issue. They're getting a lot of penalties. There's a lot of drop balls. There's just a lot of concentration things that can be fixed, but they haven't been fixed the whole season. It worries me for the playoffs. What's the point if we're still having these same concentration issues that we've been having?
That's true. Even Kelce said, we've been having communication issues. We think we're on the same page, but then obviously we're not. It's just a lot going on, and they're trying to pull it together, but all they can do is go out there and give it their best shot. But everybody hasn't been giving it their best. So
I don't know if it's too much attention, too much commercials, too much Taylor Swift.
Because I'd be irritated.
We just need to get back to football. We just need to focus on the fundamentals of football.
Hopefully our Chiefs can pull it together.
It's still, how about them Chiefs? It's still Red Kingdom. We'll get it together.
Anywho, we are recording this podcast on the last day of the year before we go on our annual family staycation. And so y'all will probably be getting this at the start of 2024. But I wanted to take today to reflect on the craziness that has happened in 2023. And it is all surrounding Hollywood. Started off with the writer's strike all the way back in May of 2023. Then it was streaming delays and movie delays. The actors, they went on strike then. Then there was celebrity makeups, breakups. There were divorces, world tours, court cases. I mean, the list is endless. And I am ready to get off this roller coaster ride. So, without further ado.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, from what I'm hearing, 2024 is going to be even crazier. More allegations, more scandals. The truth will always come to light. So, what the things that people do behind the scenes or allegedly do are coming to light. And, of course, we have an opinion on it.
Usually, there's not a lot of news around the holidays, but it has not died down. Ever since the middle of November, when Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, I feel like she opened up the floodgates, and all the rest of the accusers and celebrities, they just started just pouring out. Like, she made it okay because she was so detailed in her lawsuit that she filed, and everybody read all of the pages of it. And so now people are like, okay, I feel comfortable to talk. So Diddy, he never went to jail or anything like that. It was a civil lawsuit, so it was never going to be a matter of him going to jail. He wasn't even proven guilty. He settled the next day.
Within 24 hours.
But in the court of public opinion, he was guilty. So he's lost a lot of connections and deals, and now the people that are connected to him are now being held to the fire.
It's giving me R. Kelly vibes. It's reminding me of how people moved when allegations about R. Kelly came out.
And evidence.
And people were backing away. Even though a lot of these people, they knew what was going on a long time ago. But now that this was public information, then it's like, oh, well, I don't associate with this person anymore. Mm-hmm. Diddy still has power, still has money, but the snowball effect is definitely happening right now. So I don't think this is the last of the Diddy saga. A lot of people were making up different names and stuff. Diddy not, like the,
that was a good one.
50 Cent's been going hard on him for months, like every day having posts on Diddy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I hear things about other people, some people that I even like, but the truth will always come to light.
Okay. So I didn't want to have to talk about it because if you are a regular podcast listener of mine, you know that I love listening to TD Jakes and his sermons, and they've really inspired me, and they still do continue to inspire me. But I cannot not talk about it. It is being alleged that TD Jakes attended one of Diddy's parties, and a lot of people are scared to talk about it because, for one, they don't want to talk about this man of God.
For sure.
And there's not actual evidence out there thus far.
No, they've been spotted in pictures together. There was even a video of them doing some photo shoot, and I was talking to some friends of mine because him and TD Jakes were hugged up on each other, and then at one point Diddy put his head on his shoulder and was like your wife would do or your girlfriend would do, and we was just laughing like, dudes don't do that. We don't hug up on each other and nestle in his breast.
But can I stop you real quick? Because I also had a conversation with someone recently about that same picture where his head was on his shoulder, and she looked at it from a different point of view. She said, well, you know how sometimes people can just be playing around and things can look a certain way because they were joking or something. But if you catch the picture at the right moment, it's like a perfect type of blackmail picture where in action, in real life, that that's not actually what was going down, but it's captured in a picture is worth 1,000 words, they say. So perception is reality to the public. Now, I bring it up because hypothetically speaking, let's say that it were true. Is that a reason to lose your religion and lose your faith altogether?
That's the issue with this, and that's the problem, is because a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, basing their whole religion and faith in God on whether this information is true or not. And no one man or woman should not be able to help you determine your faith in God. Or you shouldn't be going to church for the pastor or because of the choir or anything like that.
Because people will let you down every time.
All the time.
Nobody is free of sin. Nobody is blemish free, essentially. I think that if that deters you from God, or that makes you put every Christian into a box and say, oh, they're all faking, or they're all just out here doing one thing, saying one thing and living another life, then your faith is in people. Your faith is not in God.
It's not in God. And if you actually look into the Bible deeper, a lot of the people that God uses, Jesus uses, were people who were shunned by society, or who had ailments, or who were troubled at one point, or didn't have a certain status or power in the society. And they specifically used those people to show God's faithfulness and how real God was. Because it's easy to use somebody in power or somebody with influence to push forth God's word. But anyway, TD Jakes, the allegations are some bisexual activities, and if you're associated with Diddy, that's always going to be the case. We don't know if any of this is true, but I think ultimately what we're both saying is that you shouldn't base your faith in God, your religion, on whether this information is true. Go to church, stay prayed up, take care of your kids.
Also, this is hypothetically speaking, right? Okay, so obviously, beyond who he was engaged with at these parties, if this is true, he still is a married man. So that's just infidelity right there too. I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, but you can't just be one person on Sunday morning and then a different person outside of the church. But I don't think that you just throw your whole religion away.
The foundation of any relationship is trust. So if you felt like your pastor, your bishop, your covering broke your trust, then it'll be hard to trust what he says moving forward. So we don't know what the truth is. It will come to light, and then we'll probably have to talk about this again. I don't think it's going away anytime soon because nothing has been confirmed
if you're a big celebrity, then there's going to be rumors and stories about you out there all the time. However, you have to watch who you associate yourself with.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that not just for him, but the everyday person. What they say, birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
People are going to start to question, well, what do y'all have in common? Maybe you do that too. And maybe you actually don't. Maybe you're not even aware of that, but you need to be aware of your surroundings because it's a reflection of who you are to the general public as well too.
And maybe it could be that's your assignment, but what is the context of you being around these people, these thieves, these scammers, these adulterers, whatever it may be? Are you there to help them come closer to God or develop a relationship with God? Or are you just hanging out with them? I think there's a quote that says bad company corrupts good character. So you could be thinking, yeah, I'm helping them, or I'm going into this situation trying to help them. But if you're a man or woman of God, but you're surrounded by worldly people and you start engaging in worldly activities, then you're going to become more like them than they are going to become like you. If that wasn't your mission or your assignment, and if God didn't lead you to do that.
Now, I'm not saying stay away from them.
No,
but public perception. You are a public figure.
Well, it's not just pictures. It's parties and other engagement. I'm sure Titties Jakes has taken a picture with a lot of people, but this is different when you're attending Diddy parties, when there's a well-known history of what happens at his parties.
Yeah. Well, that's giving me a headache. I'm going to pray for everybody involved. How about that? That's how we wrap that part up. That worked for me.
I think a lot of us don't want it to be true, but
we don't know. Hey, I hope there is no smoke where the fire is. All right. Moving right along into another actor in Hollywood, Christian Keys. I don't know if y'all are familiar with him. He's been in the game for a very long time. He is on All the Queen's Men, which is on BET Plus. He's been in a lot of Tyler Perry plays. He's been in some Tyler Perry shows. He recently, at the beginning of December, had gone onto Instagram and went live. And he's usually very low key, but he was saying how he was stressed out and he was holding this in for so many years, how he had been harassed and assaulted in an intimate manner. Now, he said, luckily, he didn't do it, but he knows that there's a lot of people that fall victim to it, and he is tired of holding it in, and he's going to be filing his lawsuit soon.
Oh, okay.
But he alleged that there was a woman in Hollywood that touched him inappropriately on set and just felt like it was okay. But if it was the other way around, then he'd be in jail.
Yeah.
And he felt violated. And then there is 2 Black billionaire men as well, too.
Oh, so it was 2. Okay.
Yes. If y'all go and listen to his video, he put some context clues out there. A lot of people were in the comments
guessing who they
guessing, yes. And so they put Tyler Perry's name a lot. He never denied it. He never looked at the comments and said, oh, no, it's not him. They're going to put Tyler Perry's name because a lot of his work is with Tyler Perry. So how many Black billionaires do you know?
There's not a lot. Him doing this live, what do you think his angle, what is his motivation for doing this live? What do you think he's trying to gain from doing this?
I personally think that it was either a scare tactic for whatever person in Hollywood to get them to contact him and they could work out some type of arrangement or deal. He did say it wasn't a money thing, but why else would you be doing it?
There's going to be money involved. Let me ask you this. Was this before or after Cassie's?
After.
Right. The record 24-hour settlement.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he said that Cassie made him feel comfortable to come out and actually say it. I don't think that he's like a money hungry person.
No. But that let's not say that doesn't play a factor. Now, if Cassie's lawsuit ended in an unsatisfactory way, would he still have done that? I don't know. But
he might have, because what I think happened in Cassie's lawsuit, she exposed a lot of things that were just rumored about Diddy, but she went into great detail. And apparently that exposure allowed Christian to be like, okay, Diddy's not the only one. There's a huge heavy hitter out here that a lot of y'all love, but it's not what it's cracked up to be. It's not just a Harvey Weinstein thing. It's also happening just within the Black community as well, too.
Well, they do target young, impressionable people in Hollywood. That's why you got to be careful.
Men and women. It's almost like holding a piece of candy in front of a baby.
And that's the messed up part about it, is a lot of them engage in these activities and then they still don't get the fame or the money that they were seeking for anyway. So now you're looking at, you can't even look yourself in the mirror. You can't even sleep at night because you engaged in these activities and you still didn't get what you was looking for anyway.
Obviously, there is some unfair systems going on in Hollywood, and it's so unfortunate for the young generation of kids out here that are actually extremely talented and they want to pursue their dreams and they want that shot on a TV show or a movie or singing, dancing, acting, whatever. And they have done the work and acquired the skills and they are deserving of getting a shot. But now you're making them prove themselves because you can see that they hunger for it and want it so bad. Look at all of those Disney child actors, how messed up they are.
And this is not a black thing. This is not a white thing. This is a systematic thing. This is a Hollywood entertainment thing. These things have been happening forever. People with Disney, the Macaulay Culkins of the world, the Britney Spears of the world.
Man, her family was involved in that.
Justin Bieber's,
Lindsay Lohan.
There's so many people. You can
Orlando Brown.
Right, and you can just look at them. Like you can look. A lot of these people, you can look in their eyes, and they look like they're in the sunken place in real time, in real life, and it's sad. And you pray for them, and you hope for better, but you know.
They're being exposed to too much at a very young age, too, that their young minds can't handle. But that's what comes with Hollywood. And I think that there needs to be some type of safe place for these kids to actually be able to utilize their talents and grow in it in a safe environment, not with all of these adult predators around them. Because
well, adults who have no attachment or any love or ties to them. And I question a lot of kids were their parents. Are you just like, it's okay, everything's okay, we'll take the money and the fame?
Think about R. Kelly. A lot of the parents were complicit in that.
They were sending their kids to R. Kelly's house.
Britney Spears' parents, when I found out on one of her documentaries, they wouldn't even allow her to have kids for years.
Her parents wouldn't allow her?
Her parents.
Why is that?
Because she was going on tours, she was doing music videos, doing movies, making money. They made it so that, no, you're not having kids. They controlled every aspect of her life. But that was like a horrible example of a momager.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just the people in Hollywood. There's some people who are close to these people, family members who are complicit, and it's so sad.
I do hope in 2024, if the allegations are coming down the line, I do hope that exposure does create some type of union, because I don't want to shy kids away from trying to reach for their goals and dreams if Hollywood is the goal in mind, because it is a unsafe place.
What are we doing now? We're recording on our own device. Independence. You don't have to go through Hollywood. You don't have to get a record deal. You don't have to do these things. A lot of people go that route and make a name for themselves, like a DC Young Fly, or there's countless people who have come out of nowhere overnight, but they put in that work on other avenues as opposed to going the traditional route of going through the system of Hollywood. So you can do these things and still be successful. Don't let them dangle your dreams and hopes and make it seem like the only way to achieve these things is through their satanic means.
Well, I think you said it all. You've wrapped it up in a bow. We shall see how this story continues to unfold. Hopefully something will come out soon. I don't know how this is going to go over, but off that actor and on to the next, which is the one and only Taraji P. Henson. She has been out here doing a lot of press for The Color Purple. They had brought up a question and asked her about unfair pay in Hollywood.
Okay.
And she literally broke down and started crying.
Just from the question.
Yes, and it was very sincere. I don't believe she was acting in this moment. She started crying because she was saying it is very disheartening to work so hard and be good at what you do. And a lot of us regular people could relate to this as well.
That as well.
And not get paid what you're worth. And she said all her years in this acting industry, she has not been paid what she's worth, and she's even thought about quitting. She almost didn't do The Color Purple. Oprah is one of the producers on the new Color Purple film.
Okay.
So a lot of people were speculating, did Oprah not pay her the right amount of money because she's a Black woman and she says she's all for women's empowerment? So there was a lot of chatter out there on the internet because people were looking at pictures of them and videos of them together, seeing a little bit of tension. And eventually Taraji had to come out with a post that said, I wasn't talking about Oprah. All I had to do was make one call to her and she was able to get me paid what I deserved. She's a great woman. Then Oprah posts on her Instagram and says this great admiration post about Taraji. It was obviously constructed because this was during the time that the movie was coming out.
Yeah, you just want people to go see it.
Now, we went on Christmas to see The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And Taraji, they should have paid her everything that she asked for.
Avery.
She did so good as Shug Avery.
Yeah.
But if anybody should have got paid their money, it should have been Taraji. What do you think?
I'm for everybody getting what they're worth, what their value is, and what they bring to the table, and what the marketplace deems their value to be. In terms of the movie itself, it's kind of more of a musical. Don't want to give too much more about the movie in terms if you haven't seen it yet.
I'm going to spoil it. Go ahead.
But then after that, we went back the very next day. We watched the original Color Purple, which is deeper and more about the story and character development and understanding the background. The new Color Purple, it was just a few songs here and there.
A few?
And then
it was a lot of freaking songs.
It's not a bad movie. I just don't think it's better than the original.
I'm not a fan of musicals. Now, I knew that there was going to be a musical aspect to it. Apparently, the new movie that's out in theaters right now is based off of the Broadway production of The Color Purple.
Right.
Well, then they should have named it Color Purple the Musical because they didn't do enough acting to me.
No.
And maybe they didn't because the main character being Fantasia, who was Celie, she is not an actress. She's a singer. So every part where she sang, Fantasia can sing the house down. But she was horrible at acting. I'm not trying to be funny. It wasn't absolutely horrible. Okay, let me take it back.
But when you're comparing it to Whoopi Goldberg,
she didn't have the facial expressions. She just looked dull. Like I'm supposed to look sad.
It did not do it justice. I think we both agree that pretty much every person and every actor in the original was better. For me, I like Taraji as Shug Avery. I think if we were doing an apples to apples comparison of each character, I think that's one character the new Color Purple has on the old one. I believe she's a better version of Shug Avery.
No, I think they kind of changed her in the new one because Shug Avery was not that friendly. Not as friendly as Taraji was to begin with. Like in the original Color Purple, I was waiting for her to say, "You show is ugly," and she never said it.
And that's a staple in the movie. That's a quote.
Like, I was so upset. And then when she reunited with her father at the end, in the original one, Shug Avery brought the juke joint people, the people at the club, she brought them to the church.
She was singing at the juke joint and she heard the music playing at the church while singing at the juke joint, and she stopped and people were looking at her like, what's wrong with her? She led that whole group of people from the juke joint, the club, so to speak, into the church house.
Singing God is trying to tell you something. Like singing from the bottom of her soul.
Right.
And then went up to her daddy and they had the reuniting moment and she said, "Daddy, sinners have a soul too." They didn't say that in this movie. I was so mad.
And it was a great moment. Everybody laughing, clapping, singing, crying. It was a great moment. But yeah, if they would have put Taraji in that,
Taraji could have killed
that scene, then that would have been beautiful.
Instead, they had her pull up in a car to the church when nobody was there one day, and her daddy was sitting on the piano playing a song, and she comes in singing along to whatever he's playing.
Yeah, I guess he just sleeps like she just knows he's going to be at the church at all times. He doesn't leave. If he's not preaching, he's playing the piano randomly on a Tuesday afternoon. He
wasn't even acting that salty with her like he was in the first movie. I just felt some type of way about that. They watered that down, and that should have been emphasized more. They could have took out one of them songs and added in that long song.
Well, if you just go off of the new movie, you really don't even know what he's mad at his daughter about.
That's true.
They never really broke that down. He's mad. Okay.
Yeah, I was just feeling some type of way. Now, I do like the girl, Danielle Brooks, that plays Miss Sophia.
The new one? I like her.
She is good. She's a young actress. She was in Orange is the New Black, so I was already familiar with her. Now, it was hard to capture what Oprah did in that role because
I still
really
lean that to Oprah.
Oprah, she should have just continued acting because she killed that role. And to know that was her first role ever,
Yeah.
that's major. But Danielle, she did her thing.
Yeah, she was great.
I like the Harpo too.
I like the new Harpo too. He was cool.
Yeah, but
we're not saying don't check it out. We're just, it's The Color Purple, the musical. Set the proper expectations.
Yeah. Now, my last gripe, because I have to say this, you know, the you and me will never part, the hand clap they do from Color Purple that everybody does in mainstream media and that they joke about, they did not do that in the movie. And I was so upset. Y'all dropped the ball with that, acting like the Chiefs out here. I had to put that in there.
And we're not going to get into colorism, but for some reason they made her sister lighter skin, fair skin this time around.
I don't know. It's not like I didn't like it. It made me appreciate the first movie more. How about that?
I agree with that.
Moving right along, our movie times was not over before the year ended. We had to go and see Aquaman 2.
Aquaman.
We love like DC Aquaman. And Marvel type of stuff.
Yep, Aquaman.
Now, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a good movie to watch in theaters, but make sure you've seen the original Aquaman.
Yes.
And our opinion is that the original is still better. Maybe we need to, dwell on it, breathe, let it meditate a little bit. But yeah, I think my opinion is going to be the same, that the original Aquaman is better.
Yeah. We've reflected on the Hollywood industry, and then we've also reflected on our beloved Chiefs. But we could not end this podcast without doing our own personal year-end reflections, especially going into the new year. There was one major goal of mine that I wanted to be done by the end of the year. And so originally I was looking at a glass half empty because I'm like, did I fail myself? Did I just hype myself up at the beginning of the year? Should I even set a goal for next year? But that was looking at the glass half empty, because a lot of the times you can be your biggest critic and look at all of your potential downfalls and this is where I dropped the ball. This is where I could have done better. But you don't take out the time to appreciate the things that you have accomplished.
For sure.
In different areas of your life, which will now make room for growth. This will be my question of the day. How am I looking at the glass half full? And I can appreciate from myself that I started off this year on episode 6 of the Excuse Me, I'm Speaking podcast. And on this last day of the year, I am recording episode 33. Ooh. Bam, baby. And so I had to, and that's a lot when you don't have any audio experience, any video experience. You're doing the podcast by yourself. You have guests from time to time. You have to figure out the microphones. You have to do lighting. You have to do all of these things. It's a lot
that goes into it.
You get sick. You have to carry it by yourself a lot of times, come up with the topics, all of that.
Editing.
And switching from audio only to video.
That was a major.
Like, I got to appreciate myself.
Writing shorts.
Yes.
Marketing, branding the podcast more often. You've definitely progressed. I think that's the biggest thing where people feel like they may have fallen short or they missed the mark, is they have a specific goal in mind. And if they don't hit that goal, then they feel like it's been a total failure. You had to look at, I've progressed.
Yeah, I didn't quit.
That's the biggest thing. When you want to take action towards your goals, you can't quit. And you don't have to wait until the change of a calendar year to start on your goals for the next year. Like me, myself, I started working on my New Year's resolutions in November before everybody else was even thinking about New Year's resolutions. And I think consistent action is the most important part. And I think a year is too long of a measuring stick, honestly. I think it's better, if you really want to achieve your goals, to look at your goals in terms of quarters, 90 days, 12 weeks, because when we set yearly goals, that's so long of a period. We could always say, I got time. And the next thing you know is December and you don't have any more time. And maybe you quit at that point, or you're trying to cram everything in before the end of the year. But if you do it in quarters,
so it's like having short-term goals.
Short-term goals towards the overall goal. So you have an overall goal. How do you break that goal into smaller goals? And then for you to reach that goal, What are the absolute actions? Rain, sleet, hail, snow, whether you're sick, the kids are crying, you feel like it, you don't feel like it. What are those actions you got to do to reach that goal? It makes it easier in your brain and in your mind because you're more motivated throughout the year because those small wins stack up. They add
Small
up.
wins.
The
That's
small
what it
wins,
is.
they add up. And so it helps you get more inspired to reach the overall goal or at least get close to it.
Yeah.
So you've progressed. Celebrate that.
Celebrate the progression.
Celebrate the progression.
So now I'm going to kick the question back to you and maybe have a different way of asking. What is something that you appreciate that you accomplished in 2023?
I feel like some of the actions that I had been putting forth for years in my career, I got recognized for those actions. So that was nice.
Several times.
To be recognized. You don't do it for that stuff, but everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be valued. Everybody wants to be appreciated in whatever you do. So I was able to see externally from other people, hey, you're doing a great job at what you're doing. Keep going. So it was good to get that appreciation in my professional career.
Well, that's perfect. I was happy to be there to celebrate with you as well. And it was good for our kids to be able to see that. So I'm glad that that was your appreciative glass half full moment.
And it was really great that you were there and my kids were there because I want to instill in them that you can do these things because that was instilled in me by my father. He put that confidence in me very early. So that's what we try to do with our kids. And then next year, when mommy's having her events, we could show them, here's the results of consistent daily action. Because they see when she's recording, when she's editing, when she's preparing for a podcast. There's a lot of work that goes into this. She takes this very seriously, and they see all that. So then when they're able to see the results come from that, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And that'll help them in their adult lives as well.
I think the sky is the limit. Whatever my kids want to be, I'm just going to support
We're going to support them in that and help prepare them to do that.
If you want to be a singer, but your voice is cracking.
You want to be in Hollywood?
I don't know. We might have to get you some lessons or something because I'm not about to tell you you sound like Mariah Carey when you don't. We got to wrap this episode up because we have a staycation to get to.
Sure do.
In quick wrap-ups, I wanted to give you an update on Cardi B and Offset because I brought them up last week's episode. And Cardi B and Offset, unfortunately, it seems like they might really actually be headed for divorce. Nothing has been filed, but they had a huge spat on Instagram. She was not at his recent birthday party.
So are they recording their spats, their saga of getting together and breaking up, getting to like?
No, Cardi B went on Instagram and went off because she said he doesn't take her serious in person and he just kind of plays her to the side. So she was so emotional, she went and got on her live. And when I tell you, she was screaming.
Oh, wow.
It was the pain of a woman. It was like, oh, she is pissed. Like, she's big, man. This is not a joke. You could feel her heart in her yelling at him. She was like, after all I've done for you and you gonna do me like this, you gonna play me like this? And I was like, oh, dang, it might really be over.
It might be.
She has been a writer for him, and he been for the streets.
And it's unfortunate because a lot of guys don't realize what they have until it's gone.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is not the case for him, but, you know.
We'll see how this goes. Y'all know I'll keep y'all updated, but that was my latest update on them. And quickly, celebrity relationships and other news. We have Tamar Braxton and her boyfriend, JR. I talked about them last week as well. Well, I had to let y'all know on Christmas Day, she opened up a box. It was her engagement ring. They are re-engaged.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations to the re-engaged couple.
Congratulations.
And I will keep y'all updated on how their saga continues. I always end each episode with a quote of the day. Today's quote is by a man by the name of Ryan Blair. The quote is, if it's important to you, you will find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse.
If it's important to you, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. What you focus on expands.
Yeah, that can relate to work, success, business, relationships.
So that goes to your question. So if you focus on the glass being half empty, you're going to make excuses. That goes back to mindset and beliefs. So that's an quote in an awesome way for us to start off 2024.
Right. If it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. Yeah, this has been another episode of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Y'all know y'all can always find me on Instagram at SheIsTwinkle1 or on my YouTube at SheIsTwinkle, and please let them know where they can find you.
Find me at kc.creditdoc on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. Same thing on LinkedIn. Hit me up. Peace.
All right, we're out. We're ready to go on staycation, and I will be back in the new year. Bye. Love you all.